Welcome back, Captain. How can I be of assistance? Certainly, Captain. I was hoping you would ask.
It was the law-forsaken parasites. I had become obsessed. My quest to stop them. To avenge my partner, Philip. And my ex-partner, Bernice. And Lieutenant Jurgen. And those two informants had brought me to Rizzo's distillery. But it wasn't just the triple distilled deliciousness of Rizzo's Spectrum brand vodka that I found there. It was death. I made sure the Brain Eaters paid the price. But at what cost to me? It's you.
This is the Halcyon News Network with breaking news. Halcyon Helen has been murdered. Administrator Ludovico of Rizzo's refused to answer the big question on everyone's mind. Who will Spectrum Vodka's next spokesperson be? Claiming that a special investigation must be concluded first.
Captain, we have a communication coming in from one Administrator Ludovico.
Get off the transmission, Cedric. We agreed to let me do the negotiating. Law be with you, friend. I am Administrator Ludovico of the famed Eridanos Atmospheric Complex. But there's no need to stand on formality. You may address me as Mr. Her death is the tragedy of our lifetime. As the face of our new product line, her murder is a stain on the Rizzo's brand. She was scheduled to unveil our newest product, Spectrum Brown, before this tragic event. But we cannot move forward with our unveiling until we apprehend the killer.
Captain Hawthorne, Sublight's favorite freelancer. I'm such an admirer of your work. Cedric Kincannon, Sublight Underground. I'm so glad we're hiring a third-party investigator. No one wants to see a troop of UDL guards stomping all over my hotel, least of all me. The murder of Halcyon Helen is a heinous assault on this colony. I look forward to watching you find the miscreant responsible and drag them out of the shadows. You're a compassionate person, Captain. And you're right. Halcyon Helen was a talented woman. She had a gift for transforming her art into wealth. You would not believe the money she made us on Dissident Busters.
For law's sake, Cedric, could you show a little discretion and not bring up your contraband operations in front of an outsider?
Please, Lou. Sublight Underground is built on discretion. I'm establishing rapport with our new contractor. Let's not give her the impression that you can't be trusted.
Do you really want to do this right now, Cedric? You want to antagonize me while I'm negotiating a contract. Because I promise you, I'll win.
First sensible thing I've heard all day. My apologies, Mr. Ludovico. That was unprofessional of me. Captain, I'm Constable Maria Keene. Hiring a third-party investigator was my idea. I've been studying your dossier. You are Adjutant Akonde's most reliable freelancer. If the second most powerful person in Halcyon can depend on you, then I'd like to think we can depend on you. As far as I'm concerned, you're the ideal inspector for this case.
I'm pleased to hear that. The future of our complex may depend on your success. I'll leave you in the constable's care. Mr. Kincannon and I must have a word.
Fine. But Rizzo's is paying for that hotel room.
I can't tell you how grateful I am for your help. And even though they may not show their gratitude, I know Administrator Ludovico and Mr. Kincannon appreciate your involvement. Mr. Kincannon could lose his spaceport if board authorities took over the investigation, and if Rizzo's is forced to cancel its unveiling, we might never recover. Helen was more than popular. She gave something to this colony that no product line could ever provide. Real happiness. No one has ever been as well known or as well loved. Outside of our courageous business leaders. I represent the law, Captain. But what's happening between Mr. Kincannon and the Administrator is politics. Politics are not my area of expertise. The law is simple. Politics are complicated. I'm pleased to hear that. From everything I've heard, you're a competent freelancer. And at the risk of sounding impertinent, we desperately need the help of someone competent. Thank you for your time, Captain. Whenever you're ready, I've authorized the Unreliable to land at the Grand Colonial.
Transmission terminated. Captain, we are now cleared to land at the Eridanos Atmospheric Complex. There are several reasons why someone would hire your services. In descending order of likelihood, they are as follows: desperation, confusion, mistaken identity, inebriation, and genuine faith in your abilities. Eridanos is a hydrogen-helium gas giant, distinguished by a well-defined ring system. The Eridanos atmospheric complex is a system of land masses propelled through a thin layer of the upper atmosphere, where humans are potentially capable of surviving. Eridanos, recently famous for Halcyon Helen's death. How exciting.
Watch out. This place is half sublight thugs and half top rungers on vacation. Both are dangerous.
Hello there. Hope your atmospheric entry wasn't too troublesome. As a guest of honor, you deserve the best in comfort. Sublight Salvage and Shipping Underground, or Slug, as we like to call ourselves, is delighted to welcome you to Eridanos. I'm the Grand Colonial Head Bellhop. I'm here to grab your bags and direct you, the Inspector, to the Grand Ballroom, which was the scene of the crime. I can try. I was the one who found Helen's body in the Grand Ballroom. Corpse wasn't in the best shape. Aside from that, I don't know a whole lot. Helen was supposed to host the unveiling for Rizzo's newest product, Spectrum Brown. Until you catch the killer, the unveiling's been indefinitely postponed. Helen's death has been a shock for many. A lot of people are inconsolable. Hell, even Black Hole Birdie, Helen's beau, has wandered off. Some folks think he had something to do with the murder, but I don't believe it.
The fans were very upset by the weak plot contrivances in her latest offering, though that hardly seems a worthy motive.
We should ask if they're comping the minibar. This might take a while, if you get me.
Folks get heated when it comes to serials and their actors, I suppose. Not particularly, but I think some folks were jealous of her success, or otherwise viewed her as...
Please avoid damage.
You know, we don't have to catch Helen's killer right this second. Maybe we ought to take in the sights.
Hello there. Hope your atmospheric entry wasn't too troublesome. As a guest of honor, you deserve the best in comfort. Sublight Salvage and Shipping Underground, or Slug, as we like to call ourselves, is delighted to welcome you to Eridanos. I'm the Grand Colonial Head Bellhop. I'm here to grab your bags and direct you, the Inspector, to the Grand Ballroom, which was the scene of the crime. I can try. I was the one who found Helen's body in the Grand Ballroom. Corpse wasn't in the best shape. Aside from that, I don't know a whole lot. Helen was supposed to host the unveiling for Rizzo's newest product, Spectrum Brown. Until you catch the killer, the unveiling's been indefinitely postponed. Helen's death has been a shock for many. A lot of people are inconsolable. Hell, even Black Hole Birdie, Helen's beau, has wandered off. Some folks think he had something to do with the murder, but I don't believe it.
Hey, Black Hole Birdie may be a savage brute on the field of honor, but he's no killer.
We should ask if they're comping the minibar. This might take a while if you get me.
Folks get heated when it comes to serials and their actors, I suppose. Not particularly. But I think some folks were jealous of her success, or otherwise viewed her as a threat. Reckon how she came about her fame didn't help. Why, she was a natural. People fell in love with her. She managed to wrangle up a following all on her own. She ended up about as famous and high-runged as your average VP, which rubbed a lot of Byzantines the wrong way. Actors ain't supposed to get preferential treatment. Let's see here. Oh, I already spoke briefly about the spectrum unveiling, or lack thereof. It's still an awful shame. A lot of folks looking forward to that. I do. Rizzo's happened to rent out the Grand Colonial Ballroom from Slug for the unveiling. A nice mutually beneficial event. But the murder's gone and ruined that. Along with 9 out of 10 of my favorite cereals. Anyway, I think I've held you up long enough. Once you're ready, head down to the lobby. The ballroom is just behind the elevators. You're making fun, right? Your luggage, belongings, kit. You're still giving me a pretty blank look. Suppose it's none of my business, but do you just wear the same set of clothes all... See, you say that, but I still ain't seen no bag. Anyhow, I'll look for you in the Grand Ballroom later. Hope you can unravel this mystery, Inspector. I appreciate that you're the friendly sort, but that's enough. I'm gonna start docking my pay.
You just said we aren't allowed to depart.
Apologies, sir, but the atmospheric complex is on.
Greetings, Inspector. No need to check in here. Your paperwork has all been processed. You should be able to find the Colonial right ahead. Oh, you're the Inspector. Welcome. Has anyone helped you with your luggage yet?
I feel like I'm spending a fortune just standing here.
Someone so famous as Halcyon Helen could meet a fate like this.
It really is a terrible shame. I absolutely adored her series.
Imagine someone wretched enough to do such a thing. You don't think a dissident could be here? And I bet you believed Halcyon...
You know, for a
I'll bet you 10 bits this is all just some sort of publicity stunt. We should try to solve the puzzle hedges in the orchards. The prize is supposed to be...
Hello there, my inordinately esteemed guest. If my hello were any more earnest, this loudspeaker... Oh dear. I'm sorry, but you don't... If you've lost your key, why don't you pay the hotel concierge a visit? I'm sure she can get you a new one. Then you can come back, and I'll service all of your...
Black Hole Bertie's disappeared, you know. The poor fellow must be inconsolable.
Oh, thank the law. Inspector, you don't know how relieved I am to see you. Constable Maria Keene. It's good to meet you in person, Inspector.
Dr. Goodnight. Ecstatic to make your various acquaintances and so on. Are we finished with the pleasantries? There's something I'm excited to show you. What body? Oh, that. Goodness, no. This is far more interesting than Halcyon Helen's rapidly cooling corpse.
Our coroner has developed a device which may prove useful in your investigation. Our office has instructed her to hand it over to you.
Our office has instructed her to hand it over to you. Oh, please. You make it sound as if I'm turning over stolen goods. Behold, my discrepancy amplifier. Hold it in your hands. Feel the way it hums with ontological potential. You're rather sharp in your upper story. I can see why you're the inspector. The discrepancy amplifier uses a deterministic model of our universe to detect the discrepancy between what should be and what actually is. Then it renders any discrepancies visible by using the power of magnification. Oh, goodness, no. I don't care for OSI doctrine. I just enjoy their math.
I'm contractually prohibited from endorsing off-brand technology, but I'll bend that rule just this once. You'll want to peer into the amplifier and examine the crime scene.
This unit has detected a discrepancy related to Halcyon Helen. Unscheduled expiration of. Begin amplification. The discrepancy amplifier has been programmed with advanced speech recognition, scientific analysis, and deterministic calculus protocols.
Oh, you'll love this. Amplifier, tell the inspector about your features.
Please do not interrupt the discrepancy amplifier. The discrepancy amplifier is programmed to take instruction from its registered or designated inspector.
How curious. I must have set its impertinence levels to flagrant.
This unit's features include an automated personality simulator. This unit has been programmed to simulate joy and satisfaction in assisting you. This is a bottle of unreleased Rizzo's product. Helen appears to have attempted to use it to spell something as she expired, but all she managed was a sticky bee. Rizzo's Spectrum Brown has not yet been released for consumption. Spectrum Brown was scheduled to be unveiled at the Eridanos Atmosphere Complex in partnership with Halcyon Helen. Now calculating likelihood of Halcyon Helen using her final moments to endorse Rizzo's Spectrum Brown. Low to moderate likelihood.
I was wondering about that. Before we arrived, I heard something on the aether waves about Black Hole Birdie taken up at the Grand Colonial.
Correct. Bertie Black Hole Holcomb is a registered guest at the Grand Colonial Hotel. Accessing guest database, B. The Grand Colonial Hotel is proud to serve the following VIPs. Bertie, Black Hole. Burbage 3001. This evidence has been recorded for later reference. Now generating pre-approved compliment. Splendid work, Inspector. This footprint stands out from the normally spotless floor of the Grand Ballroom. Typically, the ballroom is cleaned twice daily, which means this must have been made by either Helen or her assailant or assailants. Footprint is a tailor-made 8.75, suggesting that its owner was very particular about their shoe size. It is also the exact size that Halcyon Helen typically prefers. There are traces of dirt throughout the footprint. The dirt carries traces of fertilizer, as well as the faint signs of crushed purpleberries and grass. Grass, fertilizer, and purpleberries can all be found in the purpleberry orchards, located not far from the Grand Colonial. This deduction appears sound.
Good work, Inspector. I had a feeling we'd make some progress once we brought you onto the case. You'll need Administrator Ludovico to grant you access to the orchards. Contact him through the secure access terminal in your penthouse suite. Check in with the concierge. Your room should be ready by now. If it isn't, I may have to go shake someone by the collar.
The Purpleberry Orchards. And a footprint. With the help of... Ah, I was waiting for this. Yes, of course. My apologies, Inspector. I've not yet finished my autopsy. Come back later? Oh, good. One of my favorite subjects. I didn't expect an existentialist question so early today. It's a need. Just as sprats feel they must breed, or canids feel they must brutally maul each other, I feel the need to create. You're smarter than I look. Guess there's no shame in telling you exactly what it is you're using, seeing how you're so curious. As it so happened, my husband was mortally wounded in a marauder raid about a year ago. Wasn't going to live more than a few hours. I happened to have an excess of preservative fluids, a scanning device in need of a central processor, and a sudden burst of inspiration. A tragedy doesn't mean you can't be proactive. Technically, it wasn't his whole brain, just a small cross-section, enough to operate the amplifier. But giving the amplifier to you is better than letting it rot in a closet somewhere. Besides, my husband was the prior constable. He would have wanted his brain used for the pursuit of justice. Because you're the inspector. I invented the discrepancy amplifier to assist me in my own medical work. When you were hired to investigate Helen's death, I realized I had my own part to play. I programmed the amplifier to assist you. I'm entrusting it to your care because I want to see my invention help a brilliant inspector solve the murder of the... You don't miss a thing, do you, Inspector? I can see why the constable Think of the amplifier as my gift to you. May it avail you in the swift and... I still have the blueprint and several extra prototypes floating around, but I might recommend... Some of the amplifier's internal components are rare, shall we say. You sure? Oh! I've worked at the Grand Colonial for about as long as it's been around. Prior to that, I lived in Byzantium, but I always felt like it was missing something. Absolutely. Usually I'm just a medical practitioner, so I almost never get to deal with anything as unique, or as quiet, as a corpse. The most interesting thing I saw prior to this was the back of Mr. Woolrich's throat after he blew out his vocal cords shouting at an attendant. If I weren't here, I'd be back in my quarters, rewatching Byzantium in the spring, or working on my automatic sprat peeler. Always...
I know we got a murder. No one's allowed off the islands except us. The killer ain't going anywhere. Unless they jumped off the edge. And they got some way to fly. Yeah, Bob?
Something I should... Are you asking me these... I'm encouraged to know you're taking this job seriously. Please. Norval, head bellhop. He was understandably distraught. I believe his feelings were genuine. He's a remarkably poor actor. Hotel security corroborates his whereabouts during the murder. I haven't included him in my list of suspects, but neither am I convinced of his innocence. I'm a little suspicious of anyone who enjoys his job as much as Norval. He's also obsessive in his appreciation of Helen's work. Obsessive passion can lead to irrational behavior. It's a fact of modern science. If there were any witnesses, none came forward. Ballroom cameras were also offline at the time of the murder. Helen was very particular about having cameras on her. Security footage would have constituted documentary filmmaking. Can't afford that. There's no sign of the murder weapon. Whatever it was that killed Helen, the killer took it with them. Frankly, I'm having trouble imagining exactly what it was that killed her. Helen was known to carry her signature weapon, a bespoke handgun known as the Needler. There was no sign of any such weapon on her body.
The Needler's real? I watched her use that thing in the gunfight at the end of Terror on Monarch.
You keep excitable company. I hope they won't complicate your investigation by touching things. Spencer Woolrich and Bertie Holcomb are officially persons of interest in this investigation. I've mostly ruled out Mr. Woolrich, leaving Bertie Holcomb as my lead suspect. Let me rephrase that. He's your lead suspect. I've been instructed to turn this case over to your capable hands, while I continue to serve as a consultant. I know. This entire affair is beginning to sound suspiciously like a 2-bit serial. Mr. Woolrich was Halcyon Helen's professional rival. It's possible jealousy drove him to take Helen out of the picture. I apologize for the wordplay. Conversely, Mr. Bertie Holcomb was Helen's paramour. The relationship was reportedly dissolved. I can't rule out her murder as a crime of passion. Mr. Holcomb was in a romantic relationship with Helen. This alone is not enough to make him a lead suspect, but he does play tossball. Black Hole Birdie currently holds the record for most non-consecutive blows to the head. His tendency toward irrational and violent behavior is well documented. Woolrich thinks of himself as a serious and distinguished actor. He was frequently cast in demeaning roles, while Helen played the charismatic heroine. He has reason to be envious. I considered the possibility that Woolrich killed Helen in order to eliminate a rival and advance his own career, but my reasoning collapsed under closer scrutiny. Woolrich owes his career to Helen's dramas. Her death likely harms his long-term prospects. I'm struggling to determine a motivation for him, so I've largely ruled him out. Please. Anything else? You've got... anything? I'm afraid I must... It isn't personal, Inspector. I'm just on duty right now. Talk to me later, after you've met with Administrator...
I knew I should have gotten her autograph when I had the chance.
You know, I never imagined...
Look at these people, gawking over Helen's corpse. Bunch of parasites.
Finally checked in, I see. I hope you're fond of the penthouse. It's pretty much the best seat in the whole hotel. You should act as a better headquarters for the investigation than any space dust-covered ship. That and you ain't got room service on a ship. You ever need anything, come find me. Even if you don't, you can still swing by. I'm always happy to chat. Oh, of course. That is, maybe not on a personal level, but I'm one of her biggest fans. Even started an association of like-minded individuals. I'd lament not having anything to meet about anymore, but the newer tribe just ain't done it for us. Still, there goes my hopes of a Terran Monarch reunion episode. Sorry, friend, but I guess you don't get it. Helen was special, had a certain quality about her, like she would really go out and fight injustice. You look at Woolrich, and no disrespect to the man, but you just don't get the same feeling. He reminds me more of a vacuum suit without nobody in it. Don't tell him I said that. Now, what can I lend a hand with? I suppose you could call it that, but that don't mean I poked around her room or nothing while she was out. That'd be a huge breach of hotel policy. Besides, knowing Helen's athletic acumen, anyone who tried probably would have been found, beaten senseless, then hurled into the hallway followed by the contents of a garbage bin. Probably, that is. It'd probably happen, but it didn't. I'm just theorizing. Notice my battle-hardened physique, have you? Used to be in a mighty mean line of work. Been shot at 35 times. That is, I've been near people who were but to be honest, I never really enjoyed it, you know? It's one thing to tightrope walk between life and death every day, but for just a handful of bits? Nah. When this position came up, I jumped on it and made a lateral move from sublight to slug. I ain't ever looked back. Well, slug is something like an offshoot of sublight. It ain't too difficult to pivot from one part of the same company to another. Disconnects or no. That said, my departure may have been somewhat hasty. I mean, yes, but I still earned sublight a hell of a lot of bits. Basically, I singled out a ship to salvage that I thought had been out for use for years. As it turns out, it belonged to a wealthy Byzantine who used it only to vacation. As it so happened, I still don't think she tried to use it, too satisfied with the luxuries of Byzantium. Still, I figured it was a good time to turn tail, in case that ever changed. Stories. Huh. Actually, I think I got a couple now that you mention it. Execs from Opposed Corps used to visit the hotel simultaneously. After assassination number 40, we enacted a rule. No exec visitation without signing a non-aggression contract. Well, Slug is more trustworthy for one thing, where Sublight is all about back alleys and backstabbing. Slug can be trusted not to salvage your ship when you turn your head. Please do. Sure, I'd taken to checking the ballroom every few hours prior to the unveiling. Just to make sure no sprats had snuck into the place. You understand. Found her right before I was set to head back to my room in the lower levels for my mandated 5-hour sleep period. Tell ya, thank the law for caffeinoid. Been too upset to get a wink of sleep since. And hey, now I can finally see smells. beats all hell out of me. Maybe she was, practicing for the unveiling? What? No! Just because I found the corpse doesn't mean I made her a corpse. I was in shift all day. Besides, I loved Helen serials. Well, the old ones anyway. The newer episodes are hot junk on a warm day. Of course I did. I just told you I found the body. Oh, wait. You mean when she was still breathing? No, of course I didn't. Plus, it's untoward for an employee to speculate about the actions of a hotel guest. Not that I saw any hotel guests interacting with her. Honestly, you're more than a little right. I've been burning at the britches to share my theories. Day of her death, I saw Helen leave the hotel premises with the profit of profitability, and didn't see her come back. A little on the suspicious side, I think. Seemed especially strange, seeing how, as far as I was aware, the two didn't get on. Yep. Gives seminars on increasing profit margins and the like. Can't say much else, seeing how I ain't in the gossip market. Far as I can recall, Helen dismissed the ladies' seminars in some kind of interview. Said her co-star used them, but she didn't. The top rungers are always ready to read between the lines of famous folks and seem to think the profit was on her way out. Woman lost a ton of bits and is set to lose more. I hope all that helped. I'd like to be as useful as I can in the investigation. I just didn't want to steer anyone the wrong way. Everyone's got theories. I don't reckon mine hold much more weight than anyone else's.
Black hole Bertie.
I'm sorry, ma'am, but while the hotel is an active crime scene, I regret to inform you that all new bookings, room upgrades, room downgrades, and in-room massages are Oh, you're the special inspector. Mr. Kincannon warned me you'd be checking in soon. Ah, yes. We are most pleased to offer you our grandest of grand accommodations, Inspector. The penthouse suite on our topmost floor is now available for you. The last guest left her belongings behind when she vacated unexpectedly, so we needed a little time. Simply call the elevator in the lobby, and our highly skilled operator will deliver you to your private floor with efficiency and cheer. I'd love to, Inspector, but I don't really have the authority. Moreover, the guests were promised exclusivity. If I let you up there, I'll never hear... That's a good point. If they give me guff, I can just tell them that they're obstructing justice. That has a nice ring to it. Let me just set you up with VIP guest floor access. It certainly is a marvel of modern ingenuity, luxury, and ambition. Please, allow me to answer any curiosities you might have. Twice the size of the next biggest room, and kitted out with any amenity you want, as well as many that you won't. Best to enjoy it while you can, Inspector. Typically, the only people who can afford the penthouse suite have enough bits to suffocate everyone on Terra 2. Also, please inform me if Woolridge gives you a hard time about getting a better room than his. Don't tell him I said this, but everyone on staff wants to strangle him. Most certainly. All the important folks can be found in the utmost parts of the hotel. You can hardly walk 3 feet without bumping into a tossball grate or a bored exec. Though maybe don't bump into them. Could be harmful to your health. Who would be interested in a staff-only area? Most folks never ask about the sewers beneath Rizzo's plant, either. Of interest to your investigation? Well, I suppose there is that one door we're not supposed to open. But I'm sorry, Inspector, I'm not authorized to grant you access. You'll have to find a way in on your... My apologies, Inspector, but that would be a severe violation of guest privacy. We here at the Grand Colonial firmly believe that... All right, my supervisor just walked out of earshot. Some folks just don't understand the importance of gossip. About whom? You know, out of everyone here, I probably knew the least about Helen. I'm not much of an Aetherwave watcher, and Helen always had a crowd of admirers chasing her, you see, so she rarely stopped to chat. Friendly enough, surely, but always seemed untouchable. Emphasis on seemed. Now that you mention it, she was usually calm and collected, but every so often I'd see her looking all wild-eyed and intense. It seemed as if she was determined about something. Or maybe she was just hungry? That woman ordered a lot of food. Maybe show business gives you a faster metabolism. Ah, Birdie. Is he bigger than he is dumb, or dumber than he is big? I've a bet with a friend. Not sure we'll ever get it to pay out. Birdie used to be Helen's beau, though he isn't anymore, and not just because she's dead. If I had 1,000,000 bits, I'd spend every one just to learn what caused their split. Her deal? Not making them. I'd laugh at my own comment, but everyone knows there's no bigger joke than the prophet of profitability herself. Didn't you hear Helen's interview? That woman is the definition of humbuggery. Anyone who gives her the time of day is a right fool. I mean, Spencer Woolrich has taken several of her productivity seminars, and look where it got him. Don't waste your time. If looks could kill, he'd have put her in the ground 10 times over. Man's clearly jealous of her success compared to his. See, I'd bet we're the only two people thinking about him in all of Eridanos. And I only am because you mentioned his name. If you leave woolly cow milk out, it turns to curds. Leave the curds out, they begin to get stale, then rot. Woolridge is on his way to the trash bin, and everyone knows it. Either he's in denial, or he knew Helen would be checking out soon, judging by his increasing demands for a room upgrade. A dashing gunslinger type, then. I'm sure the investigation will turn out splendidly in your hands. Or at least Mr. Kincannon seems confident enough to believe so.
Come on. What?
I didn't.
Done. What the? I was going to wash my hands, I swear.
Murder or...
What floor would you... If you see Black Hole Birdie, be sure...
I'm pretty happy working for Slug.
Mr. Kincannon treats us with respect.
We're all seeing that woolly cow, right? Not just me? Okay, good.
Hey there. You a fan?
Nice going. How'd you do that so fast?
It's all in the wrist.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. The charred fragments of a letter lies at the bottom of this waste. Unfortunately, most of the writing is beyond recovery. The words station, meeting point, and emergency are all that can be discerned.
Ooh, maybe they had to put a body in storage. That would be fun.
Someone burned this letter shortly after Halcyon Helen's death. Unfortunately, most...
Well, I'm stumped.
It ain't stealing if no one sees.
A single footprint. The soil in this residue contains a very high... Well done, Inspector. The weather monitoring station at the pilot house substitutes for a terraformer. The soil in his footprint likely came from there. Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Multiple discrepancies detected. First discrepancy. A woolly cow is present in this hotel room. Woolly cows are an import species for the Wilderness Exploitation Reserve and are incapable of affording upper-class accommodations. Second discrepancy. This woolly cow is dangerously inebriated with Rizzo Spectrum vodka. Alcohol sanguinization ratio exceeds recommended. An accurate observation, Inspector. This woolly cow is suffering from symptoms consistent with a hangover. A brief survey of this area reveals that the most recent occupants were athletes belonging to the Rizzo's Rangers Tossball Club. Insufficient data. A brief survey of localized property damage, divided by the area of this room, yields the following estimate. This unit was likely occupied by every member of the Rizzo's Rangers. -1.
Zeke Hannigan, Rizzo's Rangers 16th back. What can I do? Oh, you must be that inspector people have been talking about. It's a damn shame about Miss Helen. She was always real good to me and the rest of the Rangers. Birdie's taking it pretty hard. Miss Helen was the love of his life. So, what did you want to know? I'm ashamed to admit it, but me and a couple of the other Rangers spent the night in Constable Keen's cells down at the spaceport. We didn't do anything serious, just a bit of pranks and vandalism. It's what usually happens when we all get to drinking. Guess Constable Keen saw things a bit differently and had us hauled off. No, we lost him somewhere along the way. Or maybe he managed to get away? I can't rightly remember. But he was definitely not sharing a cell with us. That much I know. Oh, Birdie was mad about Helen. He was certifiable. The big galoot loved Helen about as much as he loved the game. Trouble is, Birdie was not blessed with an abundance of temper. Helen kept Birdie steady. If he lost his temper around her, it'd be because something broke between the two of them. What? Law, no. Birdie's got a fierce temper, but there's no way he'd ever have laid a finger on... Miss Helen was outspoken. She made her share of enemies on account of her expressing herself. Just between you and me, I heard rumors the Prophet never much cared for Helen's brand of blunt honesty. What can I... About half my life. You know I was named third most profitable investment on 2 non-consecutive seasons? Ain't a lot of players who can make that. I'm in first and second, I guess. I spent the last season injured and almost got sold to the Hephaestus Hammers, but now I'm all convalesced, ready to lay into some Cleo darlings, you know? Really break some legs. Since it's the off-season, we're helping support the launch of Rizzo Spectrum Brown. Meet the fans, sign tossball cards, that sort of thing. How about you, fella? You after a signature?
Nah, I think I'll pass.
He's just being coy. Anyway, where was I? Just between you and me, Rizzo's ought to cancel the whole event out of respect for Miss Helen. We sort of borrowed her from the Wilderness Exploitation Reserve while we were drunk. I have no idea. Don't worry, we'll return her safe and sound.
About time you arrived. I see you haven't dressed the way I asked you to, but I suppose that was expecting too much of a non-industry. Expect a complaint to management. Now, unless you'd like to waste more of my time, I suggest we begin rehearsing. Ready? You've fallen right into my trap, Captain. Oh, don't bother to fight back. You cannot hope to stop me from installing philosophism as the system's reigning ideology. How does the scenery taste? Good, I trust? Wait a moment. You're not wearing a bellhop's ID, which must mean you're not Owen's understudy. That man... Oh, no, this is curious indeed. Who are you, and how did you get in? You're here to investigate me. Oh, I assure you, I'm nothing special. Just an old crook with more money than time. That was a quote from The Retiree's Revenge, in which I played an ex-thief turned decrepit old man, but of course I'm certain you already recognized it. Now, what shall I sign first? Your weapon? Your wallet? Or perhaps something a little more personal? Undergarment signatures have been popular of late, or so I've heard. Do you mean to say you're not a fan? Well, then how did you get in here? The only staffer cleared for guest room entry is the inspector for Bellamy's murder. Oh. Oh! Hello. Terribly sorry, Inspector. I didn't realize it was you. Understand that I am beyond willing to comply with your search for the fiend that did Bellamy in. You know, now that I look at you, you're the perfect reflection of me, back when I starred in The Marauder's Bane. The absolute picture of justice. Ask me anything at all. Certainly. But one quick... How was it that Bellamy met her end? Oh, yes, I'm sure you must be overcome with emotion. I was meditating, of course. That's how I get into character. Respectfully, Inspector, it is rather counterproductive to commune with others while meditating. All actors have their methods, and this has been mine ever since I met that wonderful prophet of profitability. She taught me it for my role in The Unemployed Cometh. I had to lie face down on artificially heated pavement. The director wanted our suffering to be convincing. Needless to say, being able to leave my body helped to mitigate the pain, both during the 8-hour shoot and with the second-degree burns afterwards. I owe that woman much. Yeah, actually, only since I've been at the Colonial. The Unemployed Cometh was shot on site. That makes it, a few weeks. I cannot recommend her services enough. If you haven't been to see her... Oh, come now, Inspector. What do you take me for? I'm an old man. I neither have the time nor the willpower to kill people for fun. Besides, I have my reputation to think of. Bellamy has been my co-star throughout the autumn of my career. I should like to think I knew her. In fact, I cannot name a single role in the last 10 years that did not involve her in some way, unless you count the uncredited silent shopkeep on Melissa's Meteoroids. Oh, it wasn't. And don't think I haven't picked up on your tone. Resenting Bellamy is one thing, but killing her is another completely. It's also beneath me.
Next stop.
You think they'd object to me setting up a tanning station here?
Pigsty! Slovenly! These premises are unsuitably disordered.
There's no room service, right? Just asking.
This room ain't so bad. I could get used to this.
The opulence of this place is stifling.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. The imprint left inside this suitcase matches the silhouette of Halcyon Helen's iconic handgun, the Needler. The weapon was recently removed.
I call the big bed. Anyone wants to challenge me, we can play a hand of cards.
Inspector, I understand you've visited the scene of the crime. Halcyon Helen was an important cultural icon. She will be sorely missed. Halcyon Helen was more than a character. She was a brand. Her death will now be associated with Rizzo's Spectrum Brown. You understand why that worries me. I do not. Spacer's Choice has that market cornered. Back to the matter at hand. Tell me about your investigation. Your discretion is appreciated. I admit, I'm beginning to feel more confident in this arrangement. Here, I'm granting you access through the gates to the orchards. You're officially authorized to see this investigation through to the end. There is one caveat. Cedric's being rather intransigent about letting you into the spaceport. Possibly he's trying to hide something. Possibly he wants to annoy me. Possibly both. I agree with the sentiment behind your snide remark. Unfortunately, the Piraeus spaceport is Cedric's purview, not mine. You have a lead to chase. Law speed, Inspector.
Hi there, Inspector. It might be a little beyond my job description to ask, but at my heart, I'm still a bellhop. Now, I'd love
Move along.
Oh, look here. Here's a new pair of glasses. Can't imagine.
You're the best there ever was.
I say, this pocket watch has someone's initials inscribed on it.
Must be an antique.
Hey, you. Come take... Hey, you look like you need some stuff. Fancy watch? Junk. My friend, this is not junk. These are people's prized possessions. Priceless personal effects, beloved souvenirs and knickknacks. Great. Me? And as soon as I pay off... So it turns out Slug has some pretty strict rules on vehicle docking, and I may have broken a few of them. Who'd think Slug would be so strict? Let's see. There's docking without prior authorization, double docking, docking into adjacent vessels, docking while under the influence of alcohol, docking while under the influence of caffeinoids, and loitering. And that reminds me that I've got delinquency fees accruing on top of the original docking fines. Which is why I'm hoping you'll purchase my fine wares. Me? And as soon as... So, who'd think... Well, I'm sure they'll go easier on the inspector. But say, maybe you could help...
Happy customers are repeat customers.
You're sure he's not in
My
the
last
museum?
quarterly review said
Even
I
if
had
he
an
is,
attitude
no
problem.
one will think you trespass.
Morale improvement program fits me right up.
You You don't know how grateful I am to the morale improvement program. It changed my life.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Discrepancy detected. Rizzo's company policy clearly states that all proprietary mascots must exhibit signs of physical life. Excellent observation, Inspector. Have you deduced a possible cause of death? Unusually small entry wounds indicate exotic weaponry. Closest approximations are 1. Incident involving a game of darts. 2. The Needler. Now running Flattery Protocol. Excellent deduction, Inspector. Your logical faculties make my programming seem Paleolithic by comparison. Famously deployed by Halcyon Helen in Terror on Monarch. This weapon was responsible for executing the Chief of the Savages, played by Spencer Woolridge. This unit is incapable of providing ethical advice. This unit is also incapable of answering rhetorical questions.
I won't tell.
This empty bottle of spirits does not belong to any known corporate brand. Suspicious residue detected. Excellent deduction, Inspector. Imbibing of unauthorized beverages is strictly prohibited under Rizzo's company law. Ingredients include antiseptic alcohol, sucrose, and unidentifiable miscellaneous organic material. Closest match. Counterfeit spirits available at the Piraeus spaceport.
Hey, you can see into the hotel rooms with that thing. Hey, you can see into the hotel rooms with that thing. smell. Whatever that is, it'll...
Oh, you're that inspector. Right. Sorry, but the pool's currently closed. What can I do? Space me if I knew. I got here for my shift this morning and found it this way. They can't yell at me for this one, which is good, because a lot of folks seem upset by it. Gee, you're pretty sharp. Yeah, the reception party would have extended out here, but we had to close it off. What with the contamination. And now the reception ain't happening anyway. Can't do much now but wait for the stench to wear off. We found the individual hired to clean face down in a puddle of his own spit in the orchards. Guess he won't be helping. All right. You may want to visit the Sun Parlor. That's where that Rizzo's fool mixed the chemicals he used. Oh, and you could talk to Lily, my boss. She probably has some great advice. I saw her walk toward the bridge to the Purpleberry Orchards earlier. Reckon she's still there. Now, anything else I can do for you? Yeah, it's part of the job. I think I'm listed as a security consultant. But all that really means is that if I'm caught without this thing, I get put on pool guard duty. I don't know what happens if I'm caught without it on pool guard duty, but I know that I don't want to find out. Yep, still dead. Usually Rizzo's is pretty good at making sure the people they hire ain't got Tripicale for brains, but that fella clearly wasn't worth trusting. I met him briefly once. Seemed level-headed enough, but that must have been just a front. Otherwise, he wouldn't have made such a mess of things.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Analysis reveals the chemical signature of this compound is 80% semblant of fertilizer used in the Purpleberry Orchards. The other 20% is semblant of pool water.
This is how top rungers like to enjoy nature. From far away and with a stiff drink. I get it.
Make them regret it. Nail the captain!
Skills are unrivaled.
Over. Did we win? How exciting.
Nature will out, regardless of man's feeble attempts at control.
I saw you meander on out of the pool and into the greenhouse. Now you're here. Does that mean what I think it means? Good. If you're interested in burying the pool, I'm interested in paying you. That's great to hear. Or grand, as the Byzantines are so fond of saying. Not that I ain't one. There's a chemical mixing machine in the greenhouse that has more than a few volatile chemicals. Mix them and render that pool unusable. Anything that ain't a cleaner should do. Dump the mix into the pool, then find somebody in Slug and tell them you did it for Rizzo's. That'll get those damn bastards into some red water. They're getting a tad too cozy with your friendly neighborhood slugs. We don't want either gaining power on the board. Easier to do so if their alliance ain't so sweet anymore. Personally, I don't think we're going far enough. Rizzo's is all smiling gun hands and uppity scientists. Wouldn't mind bringing them down with some well-placed bullets, but meh. If you're worried about this hurting your relationship with Slug, I wouldn't. The guard's thicker than the shit in that pool. Tell him you're with Rizzo's and he won't question it. This here's a messy business, friend. And when it comes to messy businesses, the rule's always the same. Don't get too curious, whether it's about Saltuna additives or espionage. Spacer's choice didn't ruin anything. Rizzo's did. And ain't that a coincidence? But it's also going to be Rizzo's that permanently puts that pool out of commission. Dandy.
Oh, thanks a million, Inspector. The smell cleared right up. Well, in a couple hours, the guest might even be back. Then I actually gotta start doing my job. Of course, we're not gonna get a follow-up shipment for the water anytime soon, so they'll have to content themselves on the deck. I got a little something for making my job that much less miserable. It's the key to our storeroom. If my boss asks, I guess I can spare a few bits, and, here, this pack of smokes. Sorry, they don't really load me up with... I gotta get back to...
A sudden death knockout court? Surprised the Byzantines fancy this. We played it on a rudimentary court in prison. Sudden death being more literal than euphemistic.
And when I can't get a hold of anyone in the orchards, I can't make sure of that, can I?
No, Miss Vargas. Sorry, I'll work on getting a hold of someone.
Swear to the architect, Matthias, if you've lost your rifle's ionization coil again. Oh, wait, you ain't part of my crew. What do you want? Tightly wound? Tightly wound? Damn right, I'm fine. I'm going to my calm place, where there's peace and quiet, and none of my sprat-fucking subordinates can bother me. On behalf of Slug, I'd like to apologize for that outburst, as well as all of my future outbursts. Yes, I'm a little wound up. You would be too. Between the landing pad, lockdowns, gate closures, and constant questions from angry guests, I've got a lot on my plate. And if that don't beat all, one of my crew is AWOL. If you're serious, I'd appreciate the help. He's been missing a few days, and we're low on staff as it is. The missing crew member's Evan O'Connell. He's one of about 2 slug agents I can trust with more complex tasks than stand here and look tough. Friendly type. Well-behaved, followed orders. Anyone else, I'd think they got drunk and fell asleep in a ditch somewhere, but O'Connell's not really the type. He was last stationed at the Wilderness Checkpoint. I'd search there first.
If they didn't want to tempt us, why'd they lock it up?
Incoming!
Attack! Attack!
It's done for.
Be you!
That's the last of them.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Timeline. The garb on this security guard identifies him as a member of the Rizzo's Corporation. His rank would have been that of Jawbreaker or higher. This security guard has experienced premature expiration. Evidence strongly suggests a conflict with Marauders.
At least he gave his life for a worthy cause.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby.
Hey, Crew C. It's Amelia. Evan must have gotten into the Spectrum in these crates. Listen to this.
Come out! Come out to play!
Law! He's having a grand old time. I'm gonna take him to A2 under the hotel so he can sleep it off. I'll meet you back at the orchard straight after. See you soon. Evan, come on, you slackwit.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. This card also expired prematurely, following a violent encounter with marauders.
Death removes that which we worked so hard to create in life, a shell to protect us from pain. But it is this shell, this self, that is the cause of all our suffering.
Maybe I could hold up my end if your people weren't sabotaging my operations.
Sorry, can't talk. We're busy.
And if sabotaging the orchards weren't enough, you had to make it personal. You really had to bust my Insta coffee maker too? The nerve.
Hold that asinine thought. Who was this armed stranger who just wandered into your office? Back up for a fight you can't finish?
What the hell are you talking about? I don't know this lass. I think it's mightily more likely that she's under your payroll. Here to burn down what you haven't already.
I see. Just a visitor, then. Congratulations, Hathaway. Not everyone's abandoned your orchards.
Well, shame that you're trying to change that. Anyway, sorry for the heated reception, stranger. There's just been some trouble here of late. Name's Overseeing Orchardist Hathaway, and I'm in charge of these orchards. Though it seems like certain groups, which will remain unnamed, are trying to change that. Looks like I'm stuck playing the part of customer service rep. Guess it's different from the usual, at least. Something I can do for you? Yeah, just another woe to add to the pile. In the past, the orchard subcontracted security work from Slug. You know, keep the malcontents on staff from causing too much trouble. But between the Spectrum Brown unveiling demanding all of our resources and the recent uptick in worker accidents, we just ain't got the budget for security. And, of course, Slug has decided that instead of being reasonable, they're just gonna sabotage our operations until we start paying them again.
Look at the poor Rizzo's manager, lying about Sublight to make himself feel better. Shame he skipped where Rizzo's were short on our payments months before the new unveiling.
Look, at the end of the day, it's obvious that Slug is sabotaging us. I ain't paying until they come clean. Thank the law, some good news. You hear that, lapdog? Truth's coming. Better fess up while you still can outside of an interrogation room.
While I'm sure you'd love to have a scapegoat on whom you can pin your own incompetence, I suspect you'll be disappointed. But what do I know? I suppose it's up to your new hiree.
You're back, I see.
I think it's more of a wonder that nothing in these law-forsaken orchards has managed.
How's the investigation going? Well, so I suppose you...
Really now? I consider myself more of a watch canid, here to make...
There's something else? The tower processing console is completely fried. Whoever took it out must have used some kind of explosive. Got a lot of dead saplings that'll cost us a lot of bits. I've got a feeling someone poisoned them somehow. The mechanicals were hacked. They're pretty much running amok. If you could keep from destroying too many, I'd be obliged. That said, you might want to be careful. Those things are built to take on Waspkitos, and Waspkitos are generally tougher to kill than people. Just something to keep in mind.
I'm sorry you had to come in on such a brusque conversation. Not everyone appreciates the work Slug does on Eridanos.
Especially not folk that Slug is trying to extort.
All right, it seems I need to say it yet again. We're not stomping upon your purple berries or knocking your workers off the planetoid. All we want is for you to pay your dues.
And I want you to stop setting our exterminator mechanicals loose and breaking our machinery.
This is how the conversation has gone for the last hour and a half. As you can see, it hasn't been terribly productive. Well, he's being difficult, as you've no doubt seen. All I'm here to do is enforce an agreed-upon business relationship. But our friend here is disinclined to settle.
Don't tell me to settle. Why don't you settle?
Yes, I'll be sure to do that. I know what you must be thinking, but no, I'm not here to atomize his kneecaps. I just want Slug to get what we're owed. If I hear that question one more time, I swear... Look, we just want to get paid. Hampering our clients' productivity is not a good way to get paid. In fact, it's bad business. Much as we love giving the bureaucrats 29% of our profits, technically not. Official contracts have some rather obscene fees and documentation. Instead, our company's opted for a non-official manager's agreement. I'm just here to make certain our friend over there pays on time. Yes, what can Slug? Nope. Sorry, but this is the first I've visited this area in over a month. Shame about Helen. Liked her movies.
I could never get past her hair. No one having that many gunfights could have hair that perfect.
Celebs as big as Helen always seem to elicit strong binary opinions in people. But that's neither here nor there. You're welcome to. Certainly. When I'm not out on a job, they usually stick me in the Slug mess hall. I may be a service collector, but that doesn't mean I can't make a damn fine tripicale pie.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! It's Rizzo's! Welcome to the Purpleberry Nut Hut, you wonderful, wonderful customer! Thank you for giving my humble existence value.
I don't know if whatever that is catching, but let's keep our distance.
I sure am! Good lamps you got on you to take notice. Oh, that? I call it my little passenger. I don't know why. The name just appeared in my head when this thing showed up on my neck. Don't you dare! Or I'll cut something off you! Gosh, I'm sorry. I don't know where that came from. I just felt this urge to protect my little passenger, even if it means hurting you. Couple of days. Ever since it showed up, I've been feeling happier and happier. I really can't imagine life without my little passenger. I don't know. It just appeared one day. I guess I just picked it up while working in the orchards. Sometimes I wonder how it showed up, and I start to worry. But worrying feels bad, and I hate feeling bad, so I don't worry about it. Now I'd love to get you something. Maybe a couple something? Our alcohol stocks are larger than ever. And a good thing, too, because I just can't seem to stop myself from getting into them. Our products are just that good. Thanks for visiting Rizzo's Purple. Now I'd love to get you something. No, I'm sorry. The only celebrity who shopped recently is Black Hole Birdie. Quite the affable man, as it so happens. And the stories are wrong. He could probably lift 2 benches of tossball players at once, not just one. Laws, not just affable, but virile, too. Ooh, wait a minute. Now that his beau's dead, that means more than conversation the next time he comes by. Oh, my! Birdie, a murderer? Well, everyone has their flaws. I'll be sure not to bring it up on our first date. I'm so glad you asked. The orchards are my 3rd favorite subject, with my first being Rizzo's refreshing drinks and my second being Rizzo's toothsome confectionaries. Our orchards are the source of 63% of Rizzo's total produce, which correlates to 112% of fresh goods throughout all of Halcyon. Give or take a few percent, of course. If you want to know more about each part of the orchards, might I recommend one of our fantastic tours? One of our options is even audio-guided as a special bonus feature. Oh, I'm so glad you said that. Our tours are my 4th favorite subject. Every part of the orchards is so rich with Rizzo's lore. Buy a tour ticket and anoint yourself. Huh? Oh, no. Rizzo's doesn't make me recommend the tour. Helping customers just makes me even happier than I already am. And that's saying a lot. Happy workers lead to happy customers. Happy customers are repeat customers.
And delirious euphoria can cause some to recoil and run screaming from your presence.
I'm not quite sure what you mean. There's really nothing better than feeling a euphoric sense of happiness and self-contentment. Now, I'd be pleased as punch to sell you a tour. We have 3 tour options: Premium, Premium Plus, and the Golden Ticket. Each option is one. Premium includes a 10-minute pass to the Sprat Petting Zoo. Premium Plus comes with a novelty Purpleberry and Amber, and the Golden Ticket is audio-guided in addition to being self-guided. Which kind? You're in luck. We have 1 left. Normally they're 100 bits, but seeing how I'm sold out of everything else, I can give it to you for... That's great. Thank you so much.
Did you know a third of... Halcyonites are allergic to trees. Most spend their whole lives in ships or in their... town's walls.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. These footprints match the shoes previously analyzed in the Grand Ballroom. There is a 110% chance with a 10% margin of error that they were left by Ruth Bellamy, the actress known as Halcyon Helen.
Anything interesting? You can tell all that? Still, I wonder what she was doing out here.
Such lovely weather calls for a harvest, I do believe. Well, sweet hello there, valued visitor. I am sure sorry to break it to you, but our orchards are closed to all officially guided tours at this precise moment in time.
There's obviously something very wrong with this individual. That smile is unsettling, to put it mildly.
Why, thank you! Rizzo's encourages all workers to put on a happy face when engaging with valued customers. Rizzo's does beseech you to please purchase one of our self-guided options if you're wishing to join one of our rejuvenative, relaxing, reformatory tours. Now with a Puzzle Hedges trademark maze hunt and special edition taste testing for an extra 35 bits a ticket. What kind of investigation? You wouldn't happen to be from the health inspection office, would you? Grisly stuff, that. I heard the poor gal got her brain pan bashed in. Not that she probably had much rattling around there to start with, if you know what I mean. Well, someone sure wanted her gone, didn't they? But no Rizzo's employee would commit such an atrocity. We're far too content with life for that. Won't find an unhappy Rizzo's employee in all of Eridanos. No diddly-dee-dup? Well, you are in luck. I thought she'd hired a private tour at first, but it was Dr. Blossom who was showing her the way to the RR and DD labs. Can't imagine why she'd need to meet with our head researcher on the Spectrum product line outside of her lab hours. Unless, of course, it had to do with the new product unveiling. That's right, she was. She sure made for some lovely adverts. Maybe it might have involved an issue with the launch batch then? I can't rightly say. All I know is one of our certified tour guides could have given her a much more comprehensive tour of the grounds were that her interest. Can't say that I have. We use bad batches of liquor for our pesticides. Only the exterminator mechanicals are armed around here. And I haven't seen any bloody objects aside from the usual pair of gardening shears. Unless, that is, Miss Helen was also stung to death by pollinization waspitos? She wasn't, was she? That would be a mighty wretched way to go. Pollinization by killer waspitos, indeedy. It's cutting-edge Rizzo's technology. But don't you worry, valued visitor. Our pollinization cycles only run when the orchards are empty, for safety reasons. When a pollinization cycle finishes or is aborted, all waspitos are biologically programmed to return to the hive, their holding pen. Of course, the very last thing Rizzo's would want is a beloved tourist bumbling into the hive and triggering an unscheduled cycle. So you'd best steer clear of it for safety. You'll know the hive by its big, glimmering electric fencing. Well now, you certainly are an individual of refined taste. There are folks who defend the premium option and its sprat petting zoo, but once you've been bit by one sprat, you've been bit by them all. Of course, tours of any excess level must be suspended during a scheduled pollinization cycle. Our waspitos are quite territorial and have been known to sting both workers and visitors alike. Yes, indeedy. I've got the wondrous honor of having just been promoted to third keeper of the grounds after the last one disappeared on the job. Gosh, I guess about a week ago now. Before my morning clock-in last Sunday, I was but a lowly nanner peeler picker on the line shift. Now I'm responsible for growing every twig and berry on this vast swath of fertile land. Heaven sweet, no. It's not like he was murdered. He simply disappeared without a trace and hasn't been heard from since. And the groundkeeper before that one? Well, she wasn't missing at all. Her body was found near hive control, covered head to toe in thousands of welts. No mystery, and certainly no murder with what happened there. I mean, you can't exactly hold some mosquitoes on trial. Accidents do happen on the job. Why would I? I am daily filled with bursting happiness by bringing to fruition my life's purpose. This job is a blessing. In fact, I can't say I've ever been merrier in my whole life. I reckon you could talk to my supervisor, the overseeing orchardist. He would know more. I used to ask questions, but gee, I just don't feel the urge to anymore. Gosh and goody gumdrops, but I could talk about the orchards till my lips fell off. Instead, let's talk about whatever interests you, because that's what interests me, too. I can't stop you from poking around, but there's a reason.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Congratulations, Inspector. You've discovered more footprints belonging to the deceased actress known as Halcyon Helen.
They're on us. So you happy? Nice one!
Nice one, Captain!
I just wanted to make you...
Well, I'll take your confession now.
Timeline. Congratulations, Inspector. You've discovered more footprints belonging to the deceased actress known as Halcyon Helen. Timeline discrepancy detected nearby.
Handled beautifully.
Congratulations, Inspector. You've discovered more footprints belonging to the deceased actress known as Halcyon Helen. Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Congratulations, Inspector. you've discovered more footprints belonging to the deceased actress known as Halcyon Helen.
Stand in awe before our huge Rizzo's Hothouse Conservatory trademark. This building hosts all... Are you wondering about that omnipresent warm and fragrant mist? That's just our all-natural fertilizing spray, made of pureed Cysty Pig waste products. From nature, back to nature. Our spray is... Note, Rizzo's discourages inhalation of its safe and natural liquid fertilizer. In case of accidental inhalation, please record any unusual effects and give that record to the nearest Rizzo's employee as quickly as possible. Remember, you are part...
Hey, what are you doing in here? Are you authorized to be in the conservatory? Are you trying to give me a heart attack? Are you my ex-wife? No, she fell off the side of Eridanos under mysterious circumstances 6 years ago, conveniently rendering our marriage contract null. You must be the new, groundskeeper? That can't be it either, seeing how the new one hasn't died yet. Just who are you? An inspector. Well, I don't think you'll find any evidence here. You're welcome to ask what you want, seeing how I figure... Bleeding hell. Standing up like this makes a body forget how stiff he gets, bent over plants all day. Oh, seems I'm not as young as I feel. Indeed. Tromped in and out of the conservatory with no heed for anyone else. Good thing none of my charges were damaged. Starlet or not, I would have had a harsh word for her. I heard she pushed her way into a tour of the RR&DD labs not soon after. She's just a serial actress. Yet she acts like she's deserved of the same access as a co-CEO. Well, she's not going anywhere ever again, which is a shame of. I sit inside and I look at plants. Goal is usually to make Rizzo's fruit products hardier and sweeter, but for every success, there are a couple of hundred failures. Example, tried breeding native Tripicale with a foreign strain. Would have called it Hexticale. In the end, it bred so fast, workers were swallowed up before they could harvest it. That one, I think, can be attributed to the Waspitos. Some lament their irritability, but their productivity is unmatched. What's a few dead workers in the architect's designs? You say angry. I say efficient. Not only can our Waspitos defend themselves, but Rizzo's investments as well. They come through the orchards only during pollination cycles, as dictated by our hive control operators, which means that visitors usually aren't on the receiving ends of their stingers. Well, yes, if there's an equipment malfunction, the pollination cycle will have to be manually shut down, which means traveling to hive control while the Waspitos swarm.
Don't mess with us.
Blood all over my uniform.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Congratulations, Inspector. You've discovered more footprints belonging to the deceased actress known as Halcyon Helen.
Fine hit! Here's a little trick I learned in prison.
I want to be your friend! Oh. Real funny!
I've got another fight in me.
Chuckles, you are.
We're all family here. Rizzo's takes care of its own.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby.
Their mistake. That was a nice warm-up.
Bits of wicker detected, embedded within the chunks of dark matter. Wicker is not a known ingredient of the dark matter product. The only members of a tossball team strong enough to crack a stick in two are the dedicated hackers, like Black Hole Birdie.
Bertie didn't take kindly to having his advances rebuffed by Ms. Bellamy, in other words. Waspitos. Even their hives look menacing.
That's good.
Just wanted to make you smile!
Incoming! Your life was merely an illusion anyway.
I just wanted to...
No doubt. We are victorious.
Impressive as always.
Did I hear? I just wanted to make you smile!
What do you think they've got in there? Rabid animals? Death traps?
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. This console is 95% non-functional. Remaining cause of shortout is most likely related to purple residue splattered all across the keyboard. Substance contains trace amounts of purple berries, fruit flavors, and artificial sweeteners number 35, number 49, number 240, number 322, number 314, and many, many, many others.
That's probably not wise, Captain.
Timeline discrepancy detected nearby. Analysis. This discarded canister is typical of the R-mounted storage tanks on the Orchard's agricultural mechanicals. However, it is not currently attached to a mechanical. This canister contains a high amount of vinegar in addition to water. Warning. Use of vinegar, a known herbicide, on purpleberry saplings is a violation of Rizzo's agricultural standards. These canisters can typically be found in the nursery storage building in the purpleberry orchards, except for this one, which can be found here. Chemical makeup of substance, 50% water.
You're back, I see.
I think it's more of a wonder.
How's the investigation? All right. A drink? I ain't ever heard of no saboteur dumping drinks all over equipment to destroy it. I hate to say it, but that sounds more like worker carelessness.
How many times do I have to tell you this, old man? Slug isn't behind your problems. Slug wouldn't even need to cause you problems. Your own workers do enough.
Ha! Knew Slug was behind the damn sabotage.
Please. We're subtle, but that's too subtle. If we wanted to destroy your saplings, you'd have known them by the blackened remnants of their stems, not some half-assed poisoning.
I see you left a few of them intact, even. Smashed more than I'd like, but I guess I'm glad you didn't obliterate them all.
Never did like leaving a job.
So what were the fine details of the sabotage anyhow? Were Slug's lackeys trying to get the mechanic... Of course. And what better way to do that than by targeting our pollinizers? It'd be a hell of a pain to kill manually. But if you set the mechanicals to do it...
In your delusional fantasy, the Waspitos wouldn't be out until next pollinization cycle. Wouldn't someone notice the rampant mechanicals beforehand?
That seems like a question you should be asking. Well, yes, it's possible to manually start and end cycles in Hive Control, but we keep a careful watch on it. And there have been no non-Rizos personnel...
Stop wasting everyone's time, Hathaway. What you're proposing is infinitely less likely than an idiot maneuver by one of your incompetent workers. I won't hear any further slander. Let's go through this one final time so even you can't confuse it, Hathaway. Slug didn't do a damn thing to your orchards. You're chasing ghosts.
Talk about ghosts all you like, but someone was screwing with my orchards. You picked a hell of a time to lose your tongue over there, friend. I guess I can't force you to tell me anything. But the peace of mind would have been... Right now, we of the orchards have to settle things with Slug. I reckon that you're about as impartial a third party as we're gonna get.
Ah, what the hell. The orchardist seems to get off on complicating what should be a simple deal, but at this point, I just want to be paid.
Never like paying bits if I ain't gotta, but you're right. If we get production finished now, we'll be able to pay later. Thoughts, Slug Boy?
I think that's the first interesting suggestion I've heard since our back and forth began. Slug can wait for an increase in costs. I hope we won't have this conversation again.
Well, that's... Much as I would have liked you to send Slug packing, I can't deny that your solution was damn slick. Wish you'd been there at the annulment of my last... Maybe then my ex-husband wouldn't have my house, our teacup caneted, and 20,000 of my bits. Sorry. Reliving past trauma. Thanks for...
Hello? I can hear you out there. If you still possess the majority of your mental capacities, please locate the test room through the lobby and to the left. You'll see me through the glass.